Life has been different this year. Dealing with the unfamiliar, having to do things that we didn't expect and don't really want to. And as we enter into this story of Jesus on the final night with his disciples, we see that Jesus has everything in hand. He's holding all things in mind. Even as the disciples are left floundering, as they're running for cover, their expectations are shattered, leaving them wondering, what does it all mean and where will it all end? But let's embrace Jesus today, that he still has everything in mind. He is still holding all things in hand. He is still and always will be the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus had instructed them where they would celebrate the Passover together. He knew the place. Jesus knew that his time had come and that there was much that he still wanted to share with his friends. He started in shocking fashion, stripped off his garment and wrapped in a towel and holding a basin of water, he washed their feet. The King of Kings took the role of the servant, and they were shocked and protested. You do not realize what I'm doing, but later you will understand, said Jesus. How often can we hear that from Jesus over our own lives? You do not realize what I'm doing, but later you will understand. He gave them all an example of serving others. Even the one who would betray him had his feet washed by Jesus. Judas, one of the 12, who had already decided to sell Jesus out to his enemies. He just needed the right moment to deliver Jesus on a plate. He was operating in the shadows, but Jesus knew. And as they ate, Jesus revealed his hand. Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me. They all denied it, of course, with fervent shock, even Judas. And Jesus gave his permission for Judas to go. What you are going to do, do quickly. Jesus knew that the betrayal would lead to his trial, but he was ready. He was ready to embrace the final part of his rescue mission. As they ate and drank, celebrating the Passover with the ancient meal that Moses had laid out for the Jewish people so that they would never forget God's dramatic rescue from slavery of Egypt to the freedom of the Promised Land. As they ate this, Jesus knew that there would be a new meal of remembrance that would remember the rescue of all people from slavery of sin to the freedom of the kingdom of light. Jesus took the bread that was broken and said, "This is my body, broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And then he lifted the cup of wine. This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you. Jesus placed himself as the only element in God's salvation plan for the world. No one would or could take our place of punishment or seal a new relationship between God and humanity. The disciples and all followers of Jesus are called to accept this by faith and remember as our act of worship in the way that Jesus has given us. And so we find ourselves invited to this table. Even though we may have sinned, betrayed, or denied Jesus. Because even then on that night, in that special moment, Jesus knew that in just a few hours, Peter would deny him. Of course, Peter refused to accept this, but Jesus knew that forgiveness and restoration would follow. And to all of us, before we eat and remember as our act of worship. Where we need forgiveness and restoration, Jesus will give freely to all those who come with a repentant heart. We see the love of Jesus, and we explicitly hear his command to love one another, just as he had loved them. He has not based this on anyone earning that love, but on it being lavished upon them. By this, everyone, said Jesus, will know that you are my followers, if you love one another. Jesus knew that above anything else, love would be what would announce who they were, and that without it, anything that they did would just be a resounding, discordant, clanging, out-of-time cymbal, rather than being a symphony of harmonious love in word and deed. His victory over sin and death would be a triumph of love, God's love for this world. And it's impossible to be a true representative of Jesus and not be rooted in love. Jesus knew that his words were troubling his disciples' hearts, so he comforted them. Jesus, the Son, spoke of the Father, who they could see if they had seen him. Jesus, the Son, spoke of the Spirit, the Advocate, the Helper, who he would send once he had gone. The Spirit who would be with them forever. Before any theologian had baffled them with talk of the Trinity, Jesus brought the comfort of the one God who is three, diverse but in complete unity. And after the meal, Jesus led them to the garden, Gethsemane. The decisive moment was fast approaching. And Jesus, taking three of his closest friends, fell on his face to pray. And 3 times he prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." And while his friends fought to keep their eyes open, Jesus had crystal clear vision. "My Father, if it's possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Just as the stars above had helped people navigate their journeys, he fixed his eyes on God, the Father of lights, to help him stay on course. "Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." So when he faced his betrayer, the greeting of a kiss from Judas, Jesus told him, "Do what you have come for, friend." Because Jesus knew and was ready for what was coming. The guards arrested him, and Jesus surrendered to his Father's will, willingly gave himself up. He was led away like a lamb to the slaughter, a willing lamb. For us today, even in our moments of uncertainty, when we're left wondering and floundering and running for cover, as our expectations might be shattered, leaving us wondering what it all means and where it might end, we come to the Jesus, our Savior, our salvation, our shield, the Alpha and Omega, who knows all things, who speaks into our time of uncertainty. "I have told you all these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world."